So we have heard about the kick, about EIT culture and creativity. We are very grateful for your support today. But the kick is nothing without its ecosystem. So starting now, our program will look into that, into the potential, into the partners, into the organizations that make this ecosystem, and in particular, the ecosystem of the C&C Southwest. So with this, I want to introduce our next our next speakers. Fran Iglesias, he's CEO of ÉPICA Foundation, and Jofre Banquells, Creative Director of Ogilvy Barcelona. So, I will let you, Fran, to introduce the session, and I will be keeping time because we have a coffee break in some minutes.
I cannot overpromise, but we will do our best. So first of all, thank you for being here in Barcelona. Welcome to Barcelona. I cannot lose the opportunity to present what we are doing here. I will go fast. Okay, I will do my best. So I am Fran Iglesias. I'm the general manager of the ÉPICA Foundation, La Fura Baus. I think that we will talk. We will talk about cross creativity, and it's important now to have in mind. I have to start from the beginning. I mean, maybe most of you know La Fura Baus. If not, we are the responsible of crazy things in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's a more than 40 years old performing arts company. Worldwide, doing macro show, big events, or all kind of operas and all these kind of things. It's a bit tricky, and it's the start of always of the presentation because, well, it's a company that has been considered avant-garde during 40 years. Well, 43 right now. It's stupid. I mean, avant-garde and 40 years is something like crazy, you know. But this is the kind of soul that we are trying to follow in the ÉPICA Foundation. So the reason of being avant-garde during 40 years is because they are always trying to find new ideas, new knowledge outside the company in order to really do new things. So there are a lot of engineers here, a lot of mechanical engineers, a lot of audiovisual engineers. There are plenty of different knowledge, not available inside the company, but ready to be accessible outside. Daria was talking this morning about that, so how a tech company able to gather a lot of knowledge is able to jump us. So I think that this is the kind of idea that we want to follow. And the ÉPICA Foundation is exactly the same. We are following the same, let's say, style, way of doing and trying to access new knowledge. But as we cannot compete with La Fura Baus, it's a profit company. We established this non-profit foundation, and we are in this mission. So reposition back humanities, arts, and culture, a strong player in the research and innovation ecosystem. This has been forever, but suddenly we split too much between science, technology, and humanities and culture, and then you can even split a bit more and more, you know. But this is not common. I mean, in the Industrial Revolution in UK, the London cafes was the meeting point for the innovation, and it was because of that, you know. If we are talking about creativity, it's the way we are able to access different ideas and to bring them together in order to create a new one. But these new ideas, new knowledge is all around us. It's cross-creativity. We were discussing in the door. It's a bit stupid because creativity is cross. I mean, it's something like when my kids say el más mejor in Spanish is the most better. No, it's the mejor. It's something like creativity should be like that. So, but we are here. We suppose that we are in a science-driven society. Most of you already talk about that. Science, technology will lead most of the things. So we have to be ready to be here. So we have scientists, let's say that they are the discoverers, let's say that they discover new knowledge. This is research, quite strong in European Commission, the stretch. Then we have technology. For me, it's the enablers, those that for me are mixed, but you know, that go with the innovation, how to take this knowledge and do it possible, manageable. That's why when technology meets science, we had an exponential growth. And then we have the art, that it's important, and we lose it here in Europe or in all over the world, but we have to recover. We have future visions, critical thinking. We have disruption here. I am telecommunication engineer, so I came from the pure research in tech, and I'm really used to do super amazing, useless technologies. So that's why it's important to, let's start from the beginning. So, and of course, we have to introduce, we are European society. Make Europe happy again. Beautiful. So Because society will give us context and meaning, and it's responsible. And when you put all them together, that it's possible, but not easy, yeah, you have disruptive, responsible research and innovation. This is Europe. This is not US, this is not China, this is Europe. It should be like that. But this is not new. I mean, it was done in Leonardo ateliers, it was done in UK coffees, it was done during ever. I mean, we are not reinventing the wheel. We are trying to understand what makes us stronger. Because there are a lot of opportunities in the boundaries. This concept of the boundaries, this concept of creativity at the end, that is the concept in the middle of different things, there are a lot of opportunities. I know that for some of us can be considered a challenge, but it's not. It's an opportunity. It's a new niche of new things that can really change society. And of course, as arts and culture and creativity should take the lead on doing that. So how we are able to transfer also these scientific technological changes that will happen, but we have to anticipate society to be ready for that. Even when I remember what the puppetry scene about Carles I was in trying to explain the society that this year will be a really bad year because we will enter in a war, you know? But this is the paper that we have. Yeah, it's 3 minutes. Yeah. So this is it. And we are trying to do this, the power of anticipatory art. So how we try to, like if it has been done forever, to try to anticipate what will happen when, you know? But the important thing that we have to consider now is that the future is already been done in the tech centers, in the year labs. This is already happening. The future that we are not talking anymore about 200 years. We are talking about 2-3 years. And that means that this is already happening, but we need to know them. That's why we push a lot this really strong horizontal collaboration between research, but the strong one. I mean, it's nice to see that now we are collaborating with supercomputing centers, with a lot of strong research centers, Eureka, in this kind of friction. Because this is the important thing, because if not, we always arrive late. Now we can debate about artificial intelligence, but it's a bit late. It's already there. I mean, we can decide if we like it or not like it, but it will happen. So this is the thing that we are trying. So how to create this kind of fake realities, this concept of MVPs, where to test what will happen when. This is quite natural for the performing arts sector, for the cultural sector, how to create fake realities, dreams. It's always fake it. It's exactly the same concept, but we have to change the naming in order to be serious, you know? It's an MVP. It's not a performance, it's an MVP. Okay, well, cool. You know, but this is the kind of things that we have to push a lot now. And this is our mission in the foundation, how to go back to this, let's say, repositioning creatives, artists, as a strong player, but because we are able to put value on that. It's not because we are doing fancy things for science. It's not anymore. It's because we are able to connect with society, but also because we have a lot of things to say and to put on the table and to get, but also to offer. So this is quite important for us. And of course, we are the only player now ready. They will arrive with Instagram and all this stuff, but now I think that we are the better storytellers here, that we are able to put society in the center and to try to interact with them and to access them, but also to take their knowledge, because it's quite relevant for research, because if not, we will go back to the super fancy new technologies, useless for society and useless for the market and useless for the people, and this is quite important. So this is quite important for us. So thank you very much. I will, 20 seconds.
20 seconds, awesome.
I will present you Jofre Banquells. He's the creative director of Ogilvy. I don't need to present Ogilvy, but
well, I'll do. If necessary.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you so much. I'm gonna stand up.
Sure.
Boom.
I'm small, you know, that's why
I kind of saw that. No problem. But thank you for your presentation, Fran. I'm Jofre. I'm creative director, as you can tell by my black T-shirt, my white sneakers, probably. And yeah, it's not that I'm here to really present my agency, which is Ogilvy. It's those kinds of big agencies founded, you know, mid-50s. and David Ogilvy and all those guys who created this whole advertising industry. That has changed so much. And my goal today for you guys was to actually see how creativity on my field, which is communication, working alongside with brands, how I understand that works for as many sectors as possible, or how ideas can really change, can really make brands evolve, can really make, I don't know, can be game changers. Yeah, with Fran, we discussed about this cross-creativity naming, which is, no, creativity is, crossed by definition, so it doesn't make so much sense in itself, but we need to tag things, so that's all right. And how design and creativity impact in many ways. Well, to me, the role of creativity really stands for doing something which we are all in the same mood, which is trying to fight this feeling, I don't care. People don't care about a lot of things. New generations don't care about a lot of things. And we have to know what do they care about. And we are facing this problem. In terms of communications, in terms of brands, they need creativity to stand out in many ways. How can we do that? Well, we try to see creativity as an ingredient to make what we call brands matter, making brands matter. We believe that brands and clients and sectors have a huge impact on society. I mean, a lot of people might rely to Nike rather than a political party. We know that. So we know the strength that brands have, and we need to even work to make them even more important, more impactful in a positive way. That's the most important thing. To do so, we think that one thing we can work with is standing for something, even if it means sacrificing everything. That's not mine, that's from Nike. Nike was a brand that understood the role into society by taking political standings, like saying, we embrace certain attitudes, we discard. They know they're going to lose people when they say the things that they say. They know, but the idea of pushing their creativity and pushing their business into saying strong messages like, I don't know, backing up Colin Kaepernick back in 2018 when, this whole brutality police was going on in the US, etc., and some athletes were, bending the knee on the national anthem, etc., that was something. It was really scary for brands taking a stand on that, but brave brands, which I think it's one thing that we will discuss later on about being brave as communicators, being brave as brands, being brave as companies, can help us really innovate, like you guys are doing when you put signs and you put a lot of things on what you're doing. I think that's awesome. Another way of taking or standing for something, and really in the, how to say that, but in sectors like food waste is a major concern for a lot of retailers, for a lot of brands and players in this kind of markets. And I love simple ideas, how creativity can help a brand like, in this case, Macro, that they understood that with a simple stickers on their fruits, they could even have this legend, this scenario where you can actually see if a fruit is ready for doing one thing or another thing, if it's ready for, if it's mature, if it's not. But the whole goal was, a brand standing for not wasting their food, which is, again, another thing that people care about. So we have to do things that make people care in this scenario. In France, actually, there's been like a lot of actions, a lot of creativity put in this particular issue, and I love these two campaigns. I mean, like how they spread, how they put this issue into people's houses, and they say, well, there's an issue with vegetables that are not looking awesome. Instead of throwing them away, instead of saying discarding them because it's what people do, people don't care about these kind of products, so we will advertise them as if they were, the most caring products of all. So the inglorious fruits, the inglorious vegetables was a huge campaign that worked so well. It's not only that it helped to reduce food waste, but of course, in terms of communication, in terms of business, was a huge win. So I love that kind of thinking. When we push creativity forward, when we turn things on the table, great things happen. Here in Spain, we have, again, we have brands that are actually taking a stand on certain issues, certain topics. You know, a lot of brands that are like Eura. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but this is like food, plant-based food, which is also a thing that people are talking about. Generations, new generations are embracing this kind of new, you know, food industry. And there's a lot of polemics around it. So a brand like Eura, like Nike was on the beginning, instead of hiding away, they push this debate to the people. They push this debate. They give people the chance even to participate into what has become even a trial against the brand and against the company. And they say, instead of, you know, taking it into press releases or working in PR communications, we're going to let people play, we're going to let people be involved into this conversation and make it relevant and make people not only care about our brand, because it's not saying stand with us, it's stand with a cause. So the cause of defending plant-based food, etc., that's again another way of, you know, not just advertising, but generating a conversation. Creativity is also it works super well to break taboos. Taking a stand is a way of pushing creativity forward and breaking taboos as well. This is a campaign that we did in our office in London, which is the Horticultural Society, which broke a taboo that we found, or that's a fact. Apparently, in ages above 60, there's a lot of people getting ETSs. So, yeah, elderly people having sex, of course. And as they are old, they say, we don't need any protection because you were old enough, we're not going to have children or whatsoever, but they're getting a lot of the disease. So that was a major issue that we had to face, we had to tackle in some way. But they were not like people who entered in pharmacies and asked for, you know, condoms or whatsoever. But it's people that they gathered and they found themselves in gardening and these kind of environments. They love that. So what we did is turn these samples of, in this case, preservatives and condoms, into what it looked like seeds from different fruits, different plants, and, you know, with all the twists and turns and creativity speaking, it was super fun to do. And it was really, really effective. And it was, again, another thing that was put on the table to discuss, you know, in TV shows, in everywhere, to get this conversation going on and break a taboo and help not only society, but also, of course, the brand, which was Relate, which is a brand, you know, focused on sex health. Again, Bodyform is a brand that I love, particularly the way they're tackling or the way they are facing women subjects like period. They're tackling like the way we see period nowadays in women, like breaking all the taboos, letting womb stories be heard. They did like a huge campaign gathering a lot of information about how women understood and how women felt their own periods, and they built a whole campaign on it. It was like one of the big prizes of the Great Awards in Cannes Festival, which some of you may be familiar with, which used to be the advertising festival for excellence. Now it's not advertising anymore, it's creativity. So it's like, of course, a source to find and a source to get super inspired, not only in advertising, but also what sectors are doing, what people are doing, and how creativity is helping, in this case, matters like this one, to be one of the most important things and subjects to be discussed, to be played with. Or this is one of our latest campaigns back in our office in Madrid with David, which is our kind of creative boutique, so to say. When we're working with Dove, you know, Dove is a brand that, as long as with the brand I'm presenting, I'm showing, they are brave enough to speak about what other brands don't feel so comfortable to speak about. But there was this major thing, like, you know, months ago when a filter came up on TikTok. A filter came up on TikTok. It was a filter that made you like look, you know, incredibly more beautiful than you might expect, according to the standards, according to whatsoever, you might like it or not. But it was so good that it was so bad. And that was like the idea of saying, this is like changing the beauty perspective of many youngsters. This is dangerous, because people are preferring to appear online with a filter rather than appearing by themselves. That was a major thing. So DAF came with this problem. I mean, we were so reactive and we were so creative and reactive to come up with an idea of turning our backs to that kind of filter, to that kind of beauty, and we created a whole movement around it, using influencers, using people who, of course, were embracing that very same thought that we had, or the brand had, or we had. So it was a concern that was shared and was put on media and was put on social media in the idea of just by a gesture of turning your back and sharing your experience about that, we generated and we helped a lot of women and a lot of young women actually to discard, to oppose to this kind of filters, or at least get some criticism about it and not give it for granted, because as we'll probably discuss later, technology has such many good things, but at the same time we have to be aware. We have to be aware on how we use it and how creatively we can, get the best out of it. Also, we believe that making brands own certain matters. When it comes to how creativity can work when we generate content and experience, and I think that's one of the steps that we find ourselves into it. We see brands like Durex, which again it's a brand that works on sex health, condoms, etc., etc. But instead of selling that, they decided to get into a world which is TikTok, which is hard to get into it. It's hard to be relevant. It's hard to not skip it with a simple scroll. It's super difficult. So how can I make my audience care about sexual issues or sex health, etc., etc. They created Itema. Itema is like an expression in Spanish that you might be familiar, like there's something going on. I mean, something spicy is going on. But at the same time, is let's talk about something. And they have created a lot of content, and it's being one of the brands that is working best into generating content and engaging with their audiences in a creative way in a media like TikTok, which again, I'm saying, it's really, really hard to make people stick I don't know, more than 10 seconds getting your attention into that. And I embrace that kind of strategy approach. I embrace that kind of creativity approach, and I think it's one of the best ones. Or Vicio, which is a burger company based in Barcelona and founded like a few years ago, a couple years ago only, that they found another media to communicate with their community, which was actually their tickets. So instead of no, it doesn't really matter the video. The point was they're using their, when you are ordering something, the allergies formulary where you have to put if you have some allergies. They found out people were saying whatever things like, I don't know, just be quiet because my child is sleeping and just don't ring the bell or whatsoever. They found a lot of creative things were going on there. So they took advantage of the creativity of their own customers to build a campaign out of it, and they did all their TikTok content based or inspired on the tickets that they had, on the things that were written on their tickets. And of course, it was amazing for their community to be part of their content and to be inspiring the company or to be inspiring the brand to do some content. And on experience, I also have to highlight things that some brands are doing when it comes not only to advertising, but offering an experience. This is Casa Seat, which is here in Passeig de Gràcia Diagonal, which I could actually saw in the open day the other day, and I have been presenting work into these offices many times. And I appreciate the fact that brands are also giving users or giving people experiences way beyond their brands, way beyond their communications, and that's something that it's really smart to do, it's really convenient to do, and it's a really nice way of approaching everyone and making people being involved, not also in your brand, but in your thoughts, into your beliefs, and it's also creative. I mean, gathering people, generating experience. It can be an event, it can be a building, it can be a party, it can be a festival. Of course, we could go all day long with this, but I have to highlight this approach, this creatively approach way to communicate way beyond the usual media. And last but not least, make people matter. It means that my last point was things that I'm seeing nowadays that brands are doing or ways of communicating that it's crossing the line between this outside-the-box technology, how we're using technology, how we're using fake, how we're using AI also to create. this is like AR. Sorry, I don't want to hear the audio because, well, I don't need that. My point was how AR experiences are being a huge thing. How some of these kind of things that you may see on TikTok and you might believe, this is all fake, guys. This is not real. This is fake. So this is digital art being used to promote, being used to, you don't even need to buy spaces on the street to do great work or great appearances like this ones, or the bags running in Paris streets. It's crazy what we see on our mobile phones. We don't have to believe everything we see, but the opportunities that we have from a creative side is endless, and I love that. And I think we have to be careful at the same time with that, and we'll discuss about technology and things like that. But again, this is something that it's being interesting for people. It's being interesting for all of us to see where it will take us. So my last message is make creativity matter, which is, of course, my whole point. I think on all the examples that I saw, that I hope it's inspiring enough to understand that creativity is like the core of it. I'm blessed that creativity is actually a deliverable that I have in my own business. So that's great, because that's my thing. I give creativity to people. For you, creativity. And yeah, that was my presentation. Now we'll discuss with Fran. Sure. Thank you so much.
Yo, no more time?
No more time. No more time. No discussion.
Well, we will have the coffee
clear.
break to discuss with you, right? It's much better.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry there's no more time. I have to say two things before we go on the coffee break. The first one is that Ogilvy is partner of EIT Culture and Creativity, and they helped us build our visual identity, which we love, because they managed to create on the EIT brandings a new vision that has this pinch of rebellious soul that we love.